Before we get into today's video, I do want to start off today's video by saying pray for Damar Hamlin. What happened last night was a very tragic incident, and at the time of recording this, he is still in critical condition in the hospital, and everybody's by his side. I do want to say I loved how the NFL community last night came together and supported him, and I want to say to everybody that has donated to his charity and to everybody that's done their part, thank you so much. And everybody just send a prayer out to Damar Hamlin. And we're going to take a quick moment of silence before we hop into today's video. This week of the NFL season was definitely a crazy one when it comes down to how it has decided the outlook of Week 18. So, before we dive into what's going on into Week 18 when it comes to playoff pictures and everything in a couple days, let's go over every single game and what I got right and what I got wrong about this week. Let's start on Thursday night between the Cowboys and the Titans. This game was definitely an interesting one. And, the Titans tried something out with starting Joshua Dobbs over Malik Willis. It wasn't perfect. The Cowboys could have easily ran away with this game if it wasn't for the fact of they crucially missed Tony Pollard in this game. The rushing attack, as you can see right there, they only ran for 87 yards in this game. It was crucially missed. And then mistakes by Prescott and the receivers, unfortunately, just cost him a lot. Cowboys defense played great again today in the game, and it got him a huge victory against Tennessee. Keeps the Cowboys' hopes alive when it comes to winning the division for at least another week. And next up, we'll go over Cardinals-Falcons. Honestly, this is a game until the Falcons kick the field goal. I almost forgot this game was even going on. The Cardinals started David Blau as Colt McCoy was in concussion protocol. Desmond Ridder got another start on the season and gets a win for the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons move to 6-10. Cardinals fall to 4-12. And, nothing crazy came out of this game. Cordero Patterson got his first rushing touchdown of the season. I'm pretty sure it was his first rushing touchdown of the season. And the Falcons played a hard-fought game and kept themselves competitive. Again, they were really heavily contributed by their great rushing attack with Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson. Ridder continues to be, solid. He didn't turn the ball over, and he's not anything that wows you, but he's something that's gonna at least keep you in the ball game for right now. And the Falcons do get a win off that. Next game we'll go over Bears versus the Lions, and everybody was ridiculing the Lions after last week when they got absolutely dismantled by the Panthers. And Jared Goff and the Lions honestly came out here today and played one fantastic game. And I can honestly say I am highly impressed with what I saw from the Detroit Lions this week. They definitely showed up and played great. Fields struggled passing the football, had that very questionable pass at the end of the first half that got picked off by Aiden Hutchinson. And, in this game, the Lions proved they were the better team, and the Lions keep their playoff hopes alive for at least another week. Next up, we'll talk about Chiefs, Broncos, and yet again, the Chiefs concern me because, honestly, this game was so much closer than it ever should have been. Patrick Mahomes kept the Chiefs in this one by getting it going, but man, the rushing offense looks horrendous in Kansas City, as we were fearing all season. Pretty much the only reason the Chiefs won this game was because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson and the Broncos did their job, and they played solid on defense. Wilson looked pretty solid on offense, getting 2 rushing touchdowns, pass for a touchdown, and had only 1 interception in this game. And the Broncos, they pretty much said, it looked like a game that pretty much said, yeah, it was Nathaniel Hackett that was holding this team back, and it showed a lot in this game. The fact that the Broncos were this close to upsetting Kansas City has me nervous for the Chiefs, but then again, it is a division game. I know it's in Kansas City, but it's not the playoffs yet. But the Chiefs have me a little worried at the moment. I am a little concerned for them, but we'll see how these next few weeks go by. Next up, we'll talk about Patriots versus Dolphins. Now, this game, it really opens a lot of things up. First off, I think the Dolphins could have won this game if Tua was playing. Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson. Bridgewater left the game with when it was on the broadcast, it made it seem like he hurt his neck. After the game, it was revealed that he injured his finger. So that was a little interesting to me. But I think Tua could have won this game. However, it does stand the test that it shows off the Patriots' defense is really good. And if the Patriots can get anything going on offense, it's not going to be fun for the league to deal with. Because when the Patriots' offense gets going and their defense is playing at their best level, I don't think the Patriots are a team that anybody really wants to run into. And now the Patriots put themselves in a position where if they go beat Buffalo on Sunday this week and they can go get the win, they are in the playoffs. However, if they were to lose, opens up a whole other can of worms. We'll get into all the playoff scenarios in the preview of Week 18 here in a couple days, so we're not going to dive too much into that. Next game, we'll talk about Giants and the Colts. The Giants, they dominate this game, and sound the alarm, get the confetti going. The Giants have clinched a playoff spot. Congratulations to the New York Giants. Their first playoff clinching season since the infamous boat picture. When they made the playoffs years back. I believe that was in 2016. The season, I believe the picture was taken in 2017 of that year. But the Giants do clinch a playoff spot behind a remarkable day from Daniel Jones on the ground and in the air. 2 touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the air. A great game from Daniel Jones. And again, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm looking quarterback in the draft right now. I believe Indy's projected to have a top 5 pick. I think at the moment, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know how you're not going and looking at a quarterback, especially when there's guys like CJ Stroud and Bryce Young on the board. I would assume Bryce Young goes number 1, but CJ Stroud's there when you pick him. You're probably going to go with him at the moment. But Indianapolis, they got to figure out a quarterback situation if they ever want to win a football game or if they ever want to be competitive again. But the Giants, they showed up and showed out. They dominated, and they did great. Next up, Saints-Eagles. And this is a disappointing one for Philadelphia. The Saints came in, and I went into a little bit when I was making my predictions. I wish I honestly picked New Orleans because I almost leaned New Orleans because I know how good that passing defense has been this year. And they showed it again, especially with Lattimore coming back from injury and playing his first game this year. It made a difference. The Eagles looked extremely flat without Jalen Hurts. Gardner Minshew did not play a good game at all. And despite the Saints not doing great on offense either, like Dalton, he contributed 204 yards, but threw a pick, didn't find the end zone himself. The Saints just went and did their thing and got the win. And now it doesn't make me nervous for the Eagles because I think this is more of they're missing Hurts. And with Hurts coming back in Week 18, I think the Eagles should still be safe. But it makes me concerned because all it takes is one little slip up, and Eagles could easily fall from 1-5 next week. So, Eagles, you guys got me concerned right now. A little bit, but not too much if Hurts comes back to play. Panthers-Buccaneers, it finally happened. Brady and Mike Evans and the Buccaneers offense finally woke up, and they showed up when it mattered the most. They played awful in the first quarter and a half. Carolina looked like they were going to stop them, especially after that Darnold to DJ Moore touchdown. That put them up 14-zip. I honestly, for a second, I was like, when that happened, I was like, ooh, this might be it for Brady and the Bucs. And then Brady finally connected with Evans on a deep ball, and about there is when the game shifted. And man, the Bucs got on a roll. They got good when they needed to. It was a little bit closer than they probably wanted it, but the Buccaneers do win the NFC South. So sound the alarm and get the confetti going because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the playoffs. They win the NFC South. They clinch their spots, and they will be hosting more than likely the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, I'm pretty sure more than likely Dallas, unless some crazy things happen, they'll be hosting Philadelphia for the second straight year in wildcard weekend. But if their offensive line continues to get healthy, Ryan Jensen obviously looks like he should be coming back from injury, hopefully before the wildcard round. If that all happens, Tampa could turn into a scary team, especially if they're going to start clicking like this. Keep an eye on the Buccaneers when it hits playoff time. Browns Commanders, and this one's a heartbreaker for Washington fans because all their playoff hopes were dashed this week, unfortunately. And Deshaun Watson played a solid game of football. He looked awful in the first half, then came in the second half, found Amari Cooper for 2 touchdowns, and it was incredible how much they turned it around. Watson found the end zone, 3 touchdowns, no picks for 169. Carson Wentz looked awful, and I can only imagine what could have happened if they started Taylor Heineke in this game. But the Browns shut down a Washington rushing attack. The first time almost all season it feels like the Browns had a good day against a rushing offense. And the Browns got a win that kind of instills confidence a little bit into Deshaun and gets the team going. And the Commanders take a heartbreaking loss that, unfortunately, due to everything else that played out in the games this weekend, does eliminate from playoff contention. So, unfortunate for the Commanders. Maybe it's time to move on from Ron Rivera because I just feel like he's not the guy anymore for the Commanders. I don't think he gets fired this offseason because of how well the team is, but you got to start looking at some things. You definitely need to start by looking at the quarterback position, though, because Wentz and Heineke are not the answer. Next game, Jaguars-Texans. No shockers with this one. I know Lawrence wasn't that great, but the rushing attack was phenomenal. 3 different running backs scoring a touchdown. Etienne, Hasty, and Snoop Connor. Phenomenal game from those guys. The Jags defense was phenomenal against Houston. They did exactly what they had to do. And they were phenomenal. I'll be 100% honest. They were great. And the Texans they're tanking. They're in tank mode. They're going for that first pick. If they lose next week, they get the first pick. If they win and the Bears lose, I'm pretty sure the Bears get the first pick. But the Jaguars, they are looking pretty good, especially since Josh Dobbs will be starting for the Titans this Sunday against the Jaguars. Or no, it's Saturday night. I forgot. Since he will be starting Saturday night against the Jaguars, I would say it's safe to assume the Jaguars will be getting the AFC South crown this season. But they have not clinched it yet. Next up, probably the best game of the week in my opinion. Niners-Raiders. And this game was a lot closer than I expected it to be. And Jarrett Stidham was really solid. And one thing that I didn't see too many people talking about was the fact that it makes sense that Stidham was the guy that McDaniels went with, saying that Stidham is used to McDaniels' offense, because if you don't remember, Stidham was a part of the Patriots. He was drafted by New England, sat under Brady, and learned McDaniels' system when he was in New England, and obviously went to Las Vegas, I believe, last year. So it makes sense that McDaniels had Stidham start. Stidham looked really comfortable in the offense for the majority of the game. Brock Purdy, again, he looks solid. He did have a couple things that had me question him a little bit, but he got the job done, gets another win for San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey was insane in this game. 19 carries for 121 and a touchdown. That's not even including the receptions and everything he did. A little concerning for the Niners defense, saying that they allowed 34 to the Raiders, who have not looked great on offense. But to be fair, it's a quarterback you don't have a lot of film on, so I'm not going to bust the Niners too hard. But if you're going to have a top defense in the NFL, you should not be letting go of 34 points to the Raiders. But that's just me. Niners do get the win. They do hang on, and they continue to keep themselves in a fight for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Seahawks versus the Jets, and this is a huge game. Seattle wins 23-6, and it eliminates the Jets from playoff contention, and at the moment puts the Seahawks in the 7th seed. They have a lot of things that need to fall into place next week for them. We'll go over that in the playoff outlook video here in a couple days. But Mike White looked really, really rusty coming off his rib injury. Geno Smith looked really solid. Ken Walker was really good in this game. However, at the same time, though, if it wasn't for a 60-yard run, that's significantly less rush yards, but still. Great game from Seattle. Their defense was great. They played a great game, and they kept the Jets from scoring touchdowns. That's all they had to do. They just had to go win today, and they did exactly that. Seahawks played a great game of football, and they keep themselves alive for a playoff spot for at least another week. Then this game. Honestly, the shocker of the week. And I'm not shocked the Packers won. I kind of alluded to it in the prediction video from last week that I did think that the Packers could easily win this game because it was in Lambeau. They are having the benefit that they're not having to go to Minnesota, and I did think they could win it. I just didn't expect them to blow the doors off Minnesota. Granted, the game could have been a lot closer going to the second half if it wasn't for a kick return and a pick six thrown by Kirk Cousins, but nonetheless, Cousins still threw 3 picks, looked awful. The Packers and Jaire Alexander in particular did exactly what they said they were going to do, and they shut down Justin Jefferson, and that was the difference maker. It pretty much goes to show, the Packers pretty much laid out the blueprint. If you want to beat Minnesota, you take away Justin Jefferson, and you're probably going to beat them. That's just straight up facts. If you do that, you're probably going to beat go beat the Vikings. And the Packers did just that, and they did it phenomenally. So kudos to the Packers. They keep themselves alive. And a little teaser, as simple as them for next week. Win, and you get into the playoffs. We'll go, like I said, we'll go over everything in detail, in depth, in a couple days. That video will be releasing on Friday, the predictions and everything in the outlook. Next up, Rams-Chargers. Battle of LA, and this time the Chargers crushed it. Mike Williams had a spectacular one-handed grab in this game. If you didn't see it, I 100% say you go check it out. But it was a spectacular grab by Mike Williams. Very impressive. The Chargers, though, they're getting healthy. They're looking good. They did activate Joey Bosa off the injured reserve, and they released Sony Michel, so Bosa should be ready by playoff time. And the Chargers, if they get healthy and they're ready to go, they could be a scary team when it hits January here in a couple weeks. It's in January when it hits playoff time here in a couple weeks and we start getting going. So great game from them. Baker looked human in this game, and the Rams came down to earth from their high of beating Denver on Christmas Day. Herbert looked great. Rushing attack looked great. What I want to see from the Chargers. And the final game we'll go over in today's video, Steelers-Ravens. And this is a game that, man, if you're Baltimore, this kills you. You had every single opportunity to put yourself in a position to keep yourself alive in the AFC North, and you lost it to Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett came out and played solid, didn't turn the ball over, and kept the Steelers in a good position to go and attack. Najee Harris ran the ball really well, 111 yards. Jaylen Warren was also really solid on the ground. And they took care of business. The Steelers defense again showed up, and again, it continues. Whenever the Steelers have had TJ Watt in the lineup, they have won, and no playoffs or playoffs. More than likely next week, it looks like Mike Tomlin's going to keep the undefeated streak alive for at least another year, and I don't know how he keeps doing it, but I think they're going to find their way to 9-8, and depending on how next week goes, like I said, we'll go over everything in a couple days, but they could end up in the playoffs. So that's this week in the NFL. And honestly, the Ravens, it's a little disappointing. Tyler Huntley had passed the ball a little bit better than he has in week past, and the rushing attack was a little bit better. But Ravens better hope that Lamar Jackson's ready to go by playoff time, which I think he will be. But so that is this week in the NFL season. Here is the current outlook for everything, and what we're looking at going into the next week. So we're going to close out today's video with that. Actually, we're going to close out today's video with one word. Just everybody, please pray for Damar Hamlin. Just have prayers out for him. Pray that he'll come through, and hoping that we can see him better and see him walk out of the hospital again. It was a very scary sight that we saw last night, and it was great to see, like I said, everybody come together and band together as a family. And for that one night, we were all Bills fans and all fans of Damar Hamlin. So I was very glad to see that. If you enjoyed today's video and you enjoyed what you see, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, check out the other videos that we have on the channel. Check out my other channel if you're interested in gaming content. And I also will have Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe linked in the description down below. So if you are here and you have not donated yet, go click on that link. Go donate to his charity. They are currently at $4.5 million raised at this time that I am recording this video. So thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will see you guys all on Friday for the outlook of Week 18. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.